Welcome back to the podcast. Oh God, my voice decided to break partway through that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
I'm a real boy.
Real boy, you
Oh dear, what a great start. Welcome back to Two Guys and the Blonde. Still not blonde, but hey, maybe in a couple of years we'll get there.
Yeah, if you stick around long enough, you'll get the transformation into blonde.
there we go.
Or bald, whatever.
Yeah.
That's true. My hair might fall out.
Some good news, though, I would like to start off with. I've seen that our numbers of viewers is still increasing. We're on an average of 11 now, which is really good.
That's really good.
Thank you everyone who listens every week. It's much appreciated. Keeps us going.
Definitely.
With that, we need to start off with the big announcement.
News. Yeah.
Which is that due to we're going to blame me probably mainly, but due to
I'm going to quit. Oh, what? No.
Whoa! We're not breaking up. We're not breaking up, ladies and gentlemen. No. No. We've decided as a group that we are going to start recording these every other week, so 2 weekly, and release them 2 weekly. So we're not disbanding, but it's just summer coming up. I've got some kind of commitments, so there's about 10 weekends in the year where I can't record, so it just assists. But there will be a chance that, like I think Christmas, New Year's, and there may be a couple other times during the year, we may get together and release, an extra one. So you will occasionally see us go weekly, but primarily it will be bi-weekly.
And you never know what happens in the future, right?
Yes, exactly.
So maybe we'll go back. You can blame me. You can blame me. Due to COVID, I couldn't be in like a bar or like whatever, and now I want to drink because we record this on a Saturday, and like social lives open up again, and it's hard to do because we're in a time span of like 6 hours in between, so it's harder to record these, and I fully agree with doing them every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point now. The UK, no more COVID. COVID is gone.
The Netherlands, no more COVID. COVID's done too.
On Monday, we're having our school board meeting, and no more masks on Tuesday.
We stopped using masks like 3 weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the only place you have to wear the mask is at school. That's it. No other places.
Here's a quick question for you, Cass, though. If you get COVID, do you have to isolate?
I already had COVID.
No, but
you mean like the general you?
Yes.
So it used to be 10 days.
Yep.
Now they're saying it's 5 days, and I'm pretty sure it's down to 2 days.
Don't have to isolate in the UK now?
Well, they're not doing contact tracing, so how are you even going to know?
Yeah, well, they've just said over here that it's now, look, regular life, unfortunately, it's going to have to be the flu, sort of.
Yeah, it's just the same. If you have the flu and can't function, then you'll be off.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's the common sense of if you've got it, or if you feel unwell, then stay at home. Yeah,
I agree.
But anyway,
Yay!
Still weird. Why it was such a big thing and now gone down to like the flu, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, who knows? Anyway,
there are many different things.
Yeah. I mean, as we're recording this, the world is changing. I think it's safe to say, and that is going to be our main subject this week. We were kind of debating whether we were going to touch on this, but it's such a key kind of critical piece of news, and that is obviously that Russia has gone and invaded Ukraine. I think is a safe way to say it. I know originally that Putin said that it was for, what was it?
Military purposes.
Well, yeah, it was like peacekeeping in the two eastern regions, which had very Russian groups that kind of wanted to split away from Ukraine. So, but he's now moved on to Kiev and everywhere. So
yeah, and it currently changed because he said it was a military operation and that Ukrainians are neo-Nazis. I think that's what he called it, literally. And he needed to destroy every bit of military goal. That's what he said afterwards, right? So he's kind of doing that, but without harming civilians. But there's still like 150 dead. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to keep tabs on every little bit going on in terms of what Putin's saying, not saying. I just know that obviously you see missiles going into like Kiev, kind of like what looks like blocks of apartments rather than just military targets. So, and I know that I think Kiev managed to stay strong last night and managed to kind of fight off the Russian advance. So, but I guess the question is, what are we all feeling about this? I think, well, I mean, I know, but let's tell the viewers.
Yeah, I think this can go out of hand real quick if we don't step in. I feel it's kind of like a position play to see where Putin is at in like the world map, basically, and nobody seems to be actively stopping him. No country does, unless like they did the political thing, like cut him off from NATO and stuff, and removing airways and air travel. I don't really know. I think this can go out of hand real quick, because he said indeed that he was like wanted to stop separatists from like leaving the country or taking a bit of land. But he's now gone into Kiev and stuff like that. So I think if we don't stop him, Ukraine will be gone. And what's left after Ukraine, he will take maybe Poland, Romania, like the former communist days, right?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of torn because on one, do I want... It's such a difficult one because it's like, obviously want to help Ukraine and Ukrainians because I know there's a large proportion of Ukrainians who do not want to become part of Russia. I know there's obviously some groups which do. You kind of find that generally everywhere, though. You got, it's always kind of politics. Some people right, some people left, etc. Obviously, I think he felt threatened because Ukraine wanted to become part of NATO. NATO is obviously doesn't include Russia. NATO was kind of set up because of the USSR at that sort of stage.
Can you explain what the NATO is before you?
The North American Treaty. I don't know what the O is actually. Is it organization?
I don't know.
But yeah, back in World War II when it ended, obviously there was the USSR. Russia had come west. Yep, I had to try and think which north, south, east, west, whatever. He had obviously taken over Moldova, Romania, Poland, half of Germany, got up to
Belarus, right?
No, a lot further, like west, because obviously you got into
Lithuania and stuff like that were part of it too, but they broke off. By the way, NATO to North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Oh, so I was right.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously he got up to, I want to say Berlin, but actually I think he went further around Berlin, but I think Berlin was split in half, wasn't it? And then you had the Allies in the USSR or whatever. It's a bit of a weird one. So, and obviously NATO was created because of the concern of how big the USSR become and communism and all that sort of stuff. So Ukraine wanted to join NATO, I think, because of the threat of Russia and these pro-Russian groups in the east of Ukraine. If I'm getting this wrong, I do apologize, but this is as far as I understand it. And then obviously I think Putin has finally gone, I don't want NATO then putting like missile sites or whatever, or really boosting up like a border between Ukraine and Russia, and therefore decided to go, screw it, taking Ukraine. Obviously Belarus is on Russia's side because the Russian troops came through Belarus. You've got Moldova isn't on NATO either. However, Poland, Romania, Lithuania, Estonia, Czech Republic are all in NATO. So for me, it's difficult because it's like, will he try and take Ukraine, Moldova, Belarus? I don't know whether he's just happy to keep it as it is because the leader is happy with Russia.
I think Belarus is split, like, right?
Sorry?
I think Belarus is like split between like former Ukrainians and Russian. So they're in the Netherlands we call it White Russia.
Yeah, I think the thing is the Belarus leader. I don't know what his name is because it's very difficult to pronounce, but he is pro-Russian, and so I think Putin's happy to obviously not invade Belarus because they're just on his side at the moment. How far west Putin would be willing to then go, because obviously then if you start trying to go at Poland, Romania, places like that, you are actually interfering with NATO countries, and I don't know whether he's willing to test that waters or whether he'd just be willing to go after what isn't NATO at present.
The problem is that Ukraine applied a couple of times for NATO and they got refused. But everyone seems to, like every country seems to want to help the Ukraine, but in smaller portions. So not like full armies, but like a chunk of it.
I wonder if there's a limit according to NATO. Like if the US helps Ukraine, they can only send this amount, because if they send over this amount, that's considered now the US is fully backing the Ukraine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
so I think there's rules to NATO where we can help, you can only help in a limited.
Yeah, but in what sense does it become war? Is it war already? Because then it will impact the whole world. So if you, I'm pretty sure Ukraine will be in NATO if they survive this, because they suffered heavy casualties, right? So the problem with that is that I think Ukraine will get what they always wanted, is be part of NATO. But I think Putin per se has gone far, but not too far yet for people to actually. But people to actually, my cat, I'm sorry. But for people to actually intervene with like their whole armies, because they're scared of what's going down, you need to see this as a political thing, because if you are going like full at it, we have a lot of nuclear bombs that can end the whole world. So if one feels threatened, what will he do? That's the case. That's what I looked up is what will happen if there's a nuclear bomb on the Netherlands, and it will wipe out the Netherlands if you place it strategically. So we won't survive that. So what's the sense if it becomes a dirty war? That's why I think a lot of countries are cautious right now.
Yeah, I think obviously, and I don't truly believe that Putin is willing to use nuclear weapons at present, purely because I think you got a major part of this is China's part, because China is such a big, I don't want to say supporter of Russia, but contributor to their like economy and things like that. And it's one of these where I think if Russia decided to drop a nuke on Kiev, let's just say, I think China at that point would go, look, Russia, that's too far. And then Russia's got a big problem of, you've got China to the south, Europe probably pushing from the west.
West, yeah.
Honestly, my north, south, east, west is useless. I have to do the never eat shredded wheat to remind myself what
what?
Eat soggy waffles.
Never eat shredded wheat. That's how it works. Anyway, that's how I remember. Obviously, then you got the US could come from the other side, so they'd be cornered. So, but how much is he willing to test it in terms of, would he go as far as going, I'm going to take Moldova because it's not part of NATO and I want to kind of create the USSR? Would he go into like Kazakhstan or anything like that, because they used to be former USSR nations? I don't know. It's a strange time, and I don't know what the UK should really do, because at the same time, it's one where it's like, I want to help, but I don't really want to get into a full-blown war. Not even, not, ignore the nuclear part. Just, I don't really want to get into a full-blown war, because it will just be so bloody. And I don't think that we should have ever gone into like Iraq, because we never got anything out of it. There were no weapons of mass destruction, for example, with that, which was the UK's main point of going in. And I always find it's very difficult, because when you start going into certain things, and I've always got this problem of, when do you go into certain places and when do you not? So, for example, there have been many kind of countries in Africa which have had like mass genocide, and it's like, well, why didn't we step into that point, into like those countries? Well, it's because it didn't benefit us, and it's like, well, I don't know. It's such a complicated thing, and
I feel like the line there, though, is it was mass genocide just to their own people, whereas now Russia is making big moves to take over other countries.
Yeah.
So that affects everyone, because like you guys are talking about, that doesn't just affect the Ukraine, because there are other unprotected countries around there that are open, like for the taking, basically, at this point. They're going to fight for their lives. But if Russia becomes this superpower, who's going to stop them?
They're already a superpower.
Are we going to stop them? Because I don't think the U.S. is going to stop them. Is China going to step in, or is China going to back off and be like, oh, well, take out the U.S. We don't like them anyway. We're good. Like, I don't know. You never know.
China backs off instantly, because they do not. It's not in their culture to fight for something not their own. So they stand guard until they are threatened, or they feel threatened. And what you say, Skell, I think, is when they attack Ukraine to the point when it's about to become a USSR, then they will think like, well, please, what are you doing right now? Let me stop it too. Let me help. Because I think it's not good if Russia indeed takes Ukraine. And it's not only for the freedom part, it's just also for indeed like the surrounding countries that will be way vulnerable. Because I feel like Ukraine has somewhat of firepower to like contest Russia, at least for a while. But like Moldova, Romania, I don't know.
Romania is part of NATO. I don't think Putin will go after a NATO country.
Yeah, but it all depends on how we are asserting dominance right now. Because if we let it slide and let them take Ukraine, what will stop him? Because he thinks, why?
But Ukraine's not part of NATO, and I think that's the... I think he's happy at the moment to take non-NATO countries, and that's why I'm saying Moldova would be threatened. Ukraine's obviously currently invaded. Belarus, it may just become part of the USSR or Russia or whatever, because the leader may just go, yeah, fine, whatever. And that's why I then say Kazakhstan and places like that, because they're not in NATO. I don't think he would go as far as into Romania, because as soon as he went into Romania or Poland or somewhere like that, I think you then have the US and the UK going, well, they're part of NATO, and it says that we have to defend them, basically. So
yeah, but why stop there? Like, why not defend Ukraine? Because it's like
I'm just saying that I think the reason why we haven't stepped in is because they're not in NATO. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not saying either way, because I don't know what the right answer is.
I think there's no right answer anyways in war.
No.
I wish when we talk about, World War II, they talked about, the sides. Like, clearly there was a line drawn, and you were either on this side or you were on this side. And I feel like right now there is so much gray space as to where people are. Like, I feel like if we knew that Russia and Kazakhstan and, let's say, even who's over here, Uzbekistan,
Tajikistan,
if we knew they were all like, okay, Russia, go do it, we'll be on your side as long as you don't take our country, then we would be like, okay, well, we already know that Russia's got, 10 countries on their side. We know that we should probably, do this
Yeah,
because
but
we know
at
that's
this
going to be a problem.
at the same time in World War II, it started like that too, and then we stepped in while it hit like 90% of the Netherlands.
Right.
Austria was captured. There was a bit there, Luxembourg, Belgium, the way we know Belgium now, and a bit of France. Then we stepped in and won the war, but before that we didn't intervene.
And we weren't into it until Pearl Harbor.
So what will be the line drawn for it to be like a full-blown world war? Because are they taking like 3-4 countries before we say halt? Or do they have to be a NATO country to be like, oh, whoa, we're stepping in right now?
But then if we proactively act too quickly, we might start World War III where it would have only been like a dying out almost, where they would just stop. It's
I don't know, but are you willing to sacrifice Ukraine, Uzbekistan, and stuff for like not having a full war? That's what I'm.
Yeah, and that's what. It's so
that's why
difficult.
It's hard.
It's so difficult to know what the right answer is because you don't want to start World War III because of just how catastrophic it could be, and I mean, the last thing you want, especially, is probably China and Russia teaming up together.
I think that will not happen at all because they benefit so much from the other countries that Russia is just like 10% of what they would make.
It's such a difficult. I honestly do think that China has got the biggest influence on this. Well, they've definitely got the biggest
and the biggest army.
Yeah, but it's the influence I think that they have, and I know there was a UN vote yesterday about additional sanctions on Russia, and China abstained rather than disagreeing or agreeing. So you can see where they're at present. They're going bloody hell.
Let's watch it out.
Yeah, they're going bloody hell. This isn't what we really wanted, but we don't really want to put pressure on Russia because we've got a lot of business with them and we're pretty close friends with them.
It's the same. It's the same with like they can't vote for Russia because they will lose like the rest of the world. I feel like
yes,
and I think we can possibly at this point win from like bigger countries such as Russia and China combined. We can't.
No.
Like with a full world force, we can't. Like honestly, like firepower will not do enough, and then it will become a dirty war because we can't win otherwise. And there's only one idiot that has to press a button for it to go wrong, basically.
If it's pink,
that button.
Don't give me the button. I'll press it. I'll press it.
I'll press it too, but I know which country, but I'm not going to mention.
Oh God!
I wasn't even talking about it being connected to anything. I'm just going to press it.
No, I think this is really hard, but I think personally, we should step in before it gets out of line, and then push Russia back to the state where it was.
I think the safest answer is tell the Swiss to go into Ukraine, because will anyone really want to shoot the people who've always been neutral? That might then cause everyone to go against Russia.
No, they froze like that. They froze like the Swiss banks and stuff, right? Today for Russians.
Yeah.
So they can pick up money. Yeah.
Well, so how is that considered neutral?
No, they chose side. They chose NATO side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Today. Or yesterday. Yesterday, the president, I think. Is it the president? I don't know.
Yes. The thing with Switzerland, I love how I've managed to get us on Switzerland, but it's just that they won't militarily go into anything.
No.
It's the same. They didn't like the Nazis, so they blocked their borders from the Nazis, and they were very concerned about them coming into like Switzerland and trying to take over. But they weren't willing to join the Allied side, but they weren't willing to join the Nazis as well. They always stay this like neutral path.
That's where China is at right now.
Yeah, that's where China's at. They don't want to upset either side at present. And I wonder if there will be a point that Putin goes over the line where China goes, look, we're now going to do sanctions as well. I think at that point, Putin would be like, this is going to become painful. I think at the moment, I think you're right, Fox. I think at the moment, no matter what sanctions we put on them, I think they've got such a strong bond with like China and places like that. And I saw the Prime Minister of Bangladesh at the Kremlin yesterday, meeting Putin, and it's like they've obviously got this Asian economy, with Thailand. Apologies if this is incorrect, but I assume they're still trading with places like Thailand, Bangladesh, maybe even India, China, places like that, and therefore our sanctions from the West, I don't think at the moment are really going to affect them. I mean, it will. You've seen that petrol prices, even in Russia, have started to increase because of the sanctions and things like that. But it's not properly like choking them to a point where they're going, okay, we've got to stop this. And obviously, I feel very sorry for all those people in Ukraine right now. I think that's the main point to put through. Is I really do feel sorry for them, and I obviously hope that they can keep fighting and kind of stop the Russians from progressing any further. The good thing that I like at the moment, I say the good thing, it's not a good thing, but it is positive to hear at the moment that there aren't huge numbers of casualties. I saw a video of a Ukrainian woman approaching a Russian soldier and said, get the hell out of my country, you're an invader, blah blah blah. And it was good to see that he didn't just shoot her, whether he knew there was a camera on, I don't know, but it's like you said, I think you said 150 dead. Did you say, Fox?
Yeah, I think around that. I'm not sure.
Where obviously Russia could have just placed huge amounts of bombs, literally done massive military missile strikes and probably wiped out tens of thousands already. But there seems to be some restraint. But at the same time, is it good to just take over a nation and then go, by the way, they're now part of Russia? No, but
I really think that there's no winners in war.
No.
And I think on each side of a country, as we portrayed in World War II, do I hate Germans? No. Do I see that people would have hated Germans in 1940 to 1945? Hell yeah. But did they want to kill thousands of people on their own? No, I don't really think so. I think this will be a part of when Putin says something happens, something will happen. Because otherwise, in countries like that, your family will disappear for no bloody reason. And I think you have to. It's for me, it's kind of like the same situation as World War II, the beginning at least. And it all depends on how we're going to portray the next couple of weeks to be able to see what happens. Because Russia holds all the key points in Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
So if they really want to do bad, they can conquer Ukraine in less than a month. That's what it said, I think, on the news. So
and obviously, we should point out at this point, it's we're not hating on Russians in general, because this is obviously Putin being very, it's him. We've seen that there are obviously some people who, or it's probably a large proportion of people who are in support of Putin's decision, but there are also a lot of people currently in Russia who are, what's the word I'm looking for? Protesting. That's it. Thanks both of you for helping me out there.
You got this too.
Kinetically.
So there's obviously a lot of people protesting as well. So it's not like it's all Russians who think this is a good idea. I saw that what's his name? I want to say his name's Medvedev or something like that. It's the Russian. So there's a Russian tennis star who's just become #1 in the world, and he said that he's obviously very distressed with what's currently going on, and all he wants is peace. So it's good to see there are, especially prominent Russians coming out and going, look, no, this isn't what we want. But
to be honest, will that really stop Putin from doing anything?
Well, this is the whole point: is that he's obviously got a very high, what's the word I'm looking for? He had, when he gets the votes, he doesn't just get like 51% or something of the votes. He gets very high percentage of the votes. So obviously there are going to be a lot of people in Russia who are very supportive of this, I think.
Or are they threatened into supporting him?
Well, that's the other thing is,
I don't know. But...
I saw someone else being interviewed, and he said something about when he was asked about whether he supported it, he said, if the nation feels that it's beneficial for Russia, then I will of course support the nation. And it wasn't like he was going, oh, I support Putin's decision. It was a kind of a very woolly answer of like getting around it. And I agree that, well, there's going to be some people who do really support Putin and like, yeah, this is great, whatever, and we should take over the world, probably. There's going to be some crazy people. There are going to be some people who obviously are scared to say too much because, they'll feel threatened that them and their families might just disappear. And then there are obviously people who are very willing to kind of go out and be like, no, this is wrong. I'm going to protest. And I guess hopefully if we get the numbers, Putin may listen. Will he? Probably not. I don't know. Yeah. But it's very concerning times. And I don't know what is going to happen.
I feel like it's... You can continue.
No. Oh, well, I was just going to say. Actually, I can't even remember what I was going to say.
It also, I think, is kind of just disconcerting. Disconcerting.
Yeah, it's a word.
Very concerning that social media is fake. I mean, that's like literally, Fox had mentioned something before the podcast had started, and I told him to stop talking because I wanted to mention it here and talk about it. I saw 2 videos in the last 2 days, which I had seen like 6 months ago in a different situation where a guy was like in an apartment and he like walks out on his glass balcony and there's like bombs going off. Well, the first time I saw it, it had something to do with like Godzilla or something. Like it was something ridiculous. Well, now I'm seeing this same video with bombs from, Russia, and it's like, why? Why are we like this? I don't understand.
Yeah, there was I know there was another one which it was Twitter or TikTok which got shown on like I think it was BBC News over here in the UK, and the BBC was saying there is obviously a lot of fake news, and it was a like night vision sort of like view from what looked like a drone, and it was like a missile hitting this like convoy. Now that's actually from Call of Duty, and they even highlighted it. They went, this is actually from like Modern Warfare 3 of Call of Duty. It's not
oh my god
actually what's going on. So there is a lot of there's a lot from both sides. So I know they showed state TV in like Russia at the moment, and they were only showing on state TV the 2 regions which Russia said they were going to go into, and it was like very minor kind of like damage and things like that, but there was nothing about the fact that they've launched a full-scale attack on like Kiev and places that Putin said he wasn't. So you've obviously got the like fake news from the Russian side, and it'd be interesting to see. I'm sure there's going to be people who create things which are saying, look what the Ukrainians are doing to us or whatever, and probably try and like turn it around. And then there's obviously the West, where people put stuff on TikTok and things are like, look at all the devastation, probably thousands of people dead, and it's like, well, actually, that's not
I
also
can
the
tell
case.
you, I don't think most of what I've seen was even from anyone in the Ukraine. I'm pretty sure it was like people in the US posting these videos. Like, you are not there, you don't see them. Like, what are you? Why?
I don't even think Ukrainians have time for
No, not right now.
bullshit like that. You know what I mean? I think people. I want to put this out there. I want to. This is not your thing, but it's like I think when you do that purposely in a time like this, you're pathetic. That do it for only for the money, like putting it up there. Like why? It's like gaining money from other people's chaos or damage.
It's dangerous as well because you're influencing people in the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know how you could think possibly that's a good idea to do it like that. I don't get that at all.
No, I agree.
This is my understanding of it. Like the whole thing is really tough. But I don't know how they censor like Russian state right now because like telephones are a thing, except when they didn't have that like 100 years ago. So like it's getting more out there.
Yeah, I agree, but you know, obviously, whether you're, you know, when you're in a country, the government does have a certain level of control in terms of what you can and cannot see. So, you know, in the UK, if they really decided to like stop Google from being anything in the UK, then they can. They'll just be like, look, turn off Google, do it. And that's what, you know, there are a lot of, I think I saw that Russian stated putting a blocker on Facebook so that Facebook was really limited and they couldn't see world news or something like that. You could only see Russian news. So obviously they are starting to really kind of
that says a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. When they're trying to censor like their own country.
But, the only thing is, and be interesting to know is when you're at that point, do you know that you're being censored? At what point do you know that you're being censored from external news? I don't know.
Like in China, it's different because they always have been censored. But when I think when they do that in the Netherlands, and I only see Dutch news, I'm like, there's something going on here. I don't think I'll notice in a day, but I'll definitely notice later on.
Yeah.
Like in a few days, because I don't know. And that's why I don't really like apps like Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that, because it's full of fake news. I like to watch TikToks because it's easy to watch and it's fun, like 90% of the time. They're really funny, but I think like especially Facebook and Instagram, you can just place there what you want people to see without a filter. So you can just portray your own opinion the way you want it to be without people like fact checking stuff like that. And it's the same with TikTok, don't get me wrong, but TikTok's easier to scroll away without being stuck on a video. For me at least it is. So there's a lot of people who do not research what's going on really, and they will take like a live video of TikTok where the Godzilla moment is in, and they're like, oh, this is happening right now, like live. How can we help, or what can we do? Like, you know what I mean? So I can probably post a video that the Netherlands is halfway gone, like because the nuclear bomb hit, and then it will be news.
Yep.
You know, so I really dislike people that do it for their own purpose.
Yep.
I really think there's no winners in war at all, either on Russian side or Ukrainian side, or whoever unfortunately dies or severely injured. And I think this just needs to stop, but I don't know how, without causing like a global outbreak or devastation, basically.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm not a leader, a military leader also.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from this, but yeah, I in a way, I kind of feel a little bit sorry for Boris Johnson, for example, over here, because he's only been prime minister for like 3 years or whatever, and he's had to somehow work out COVID, and now he's got Ukraine, Russia, and he's like, honestly, I would hate to be someone like that at the moment who's going through this kind of like having to deal with COVID and try and get that right, and now you've got this massive crisis and it's trying to get that right.
I don't know why, Skel, but Boris Johnson is in the Netherlands is everywhere on the TV.
It's because he's an idiot.
You said it, not me.
You said it. We have proof.
He will cut this out so nobody knows.
I won't.
Okay. No, but that's like, I don't know how it will develop, but I don't know if I can. I'm a little bit scared. You guys may know that, because it's like how far are we off from like every country calling their Call of Duty, and just get over there. I would probably shoot myself instead of somebody else. I swear to God, I will not survive that.
If the world goes into a full war, if I kill 25 people without dying, do I get a nuke? That's what I want to know.
Definitely. I will grant you the I will grant you the button.
Yeah, can we not just all resolve this on Call of Duty?
Right?
I would definitely slide cancel
this or something.
Like an open lobby with every big party there is. Like every country gets one guy to play in a lobby.
No hacks, obviously.
No hacks.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna bring hacks. Who's it gonna be?
North Korea.
Russia.
North Korea. Or France.
You know what? It'd be somewhere random, like Burkina Faso. They'd like end up winning, and they'd be like, "Right, we're now the leader of the world." You're like, "How the hell did this happen?
How did you do that?"
Yeah. The small Vatican City, like the Pope.
Yeah.
Like the Pope usually aim at.
Everyone would just be like, "Okay, we did not see this going this way. We thought it was going to be like Russia, US, or something like that. It's ended up being the Vatican. Oh well."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why people like our podcast, because we're so random.
Yeah.
And that's what works.
To be fair, I didn't see this coming. I thought if there was going to be a big war, I really truly thought it was going to be something to do with North Korea.
No, they're all talk and no show.
I
am fearing the day China will expand.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be China first.
Because they hold 80% of the global market, like tech-wise. And we're done for if they cut us off. Like 90% comes from China and Asian countries. That's what it is. Their military power is like scary, because they never show how big their military party is. But there's a lot of people there.
And they've always been like that too, like hiding their hand. So you can't see exactly how much they have.
China's censored, so they won't know what's on the other side of the world. So they will be loyal until they die to their president.
Yeah,
I think. So that scares the living crap out of me. Like honestly, and we live in a society where we complain that our car doesn't have gas. And our phones died, and we can't watch a TikTok video, and we have to go to war. Expect that. Like, we are more worried about what clothes we are going to wear than what's going on in the country.
Well, that's like that's the new TikTok trend, is like showing all of these like skater boys that are getting drafted, and they're like running. Like, Polden sent me this video. I almost died when I saw this. Sent me this video of Great Britain going to war, and it was like a massive group of like 24-year-old boys in skinny jeans.
Oh yeah,
just running, and I was like, oh my God, this is the fate of our world, because it's the same thing. Like, we have military who are bred military people who are gonna be great and going to defend our country. But if you're drafting the other, 20 to 32-year-olds or 35-year-olds, you're gonna get a mix. You're gonna get some fat people. You're gonna get some boys who are like that, very just like, haha, whatever. Like, we're gonna kill you with our phones. I don't know. Like, what are we gonna do? Not gonna do anything. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I don't know how this will end, and time can only tell. But that's what I'm honestly really scared of. Like getting drafted at least, and then be in a foreign country that without even holding a gun in my freaking life. I don't want to kill somebody. I probably have the heart. I don't have the heart to do it. To kill somebody that's like the same as me, like drafted and then just went up.
I have an idea for you, Fox.
To be honest, I don't even believe in my own country, let alone others. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably will defend my own home, but that's it. I started learning Russian already, so if it will take us over,
Did
yeah,
you really?
No,
Oh my
definitely
God.
not. You're really blonde.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Yes,
no.
you did. You know like 7 languages, don't you?
5, but yeah.
Just add Russian to it.
Yeah.
You already know 5.
I started doing Chinese because they will take us over anyway, so. Mandarin.
Yeah.
That's gonna.
What was your suggestion to Fox, Cassie?
Yeah, Cass, what was your suggestion?
Say, if you're drafted and you're in war and you're like coming up against people, just replay all of the bad things that have ever happened in Call of Duty, the hackers and the bad comms. Yeah, just replay that and then you'll kill them.
Yep.
And you'll win.
Slide cancel.
Then I will slide cancel my ass up and kill them.
Yep. You're getting so angry.
I will two-tap them in the head, baby, and then dance on them too.
Could we actually side cancel IRL?
My concern would be if I ever got drafted. Do you know what? I don't think I'd end up dying from being shot. I think like I would somehow manage to trip up and fall down a well or something like that.
Yeah,
it'd be something really stupid that.
Yeah, I can shoot a gun. I may not hit somebody, but I can shoot one. It'll be something stupid, like I literally fall and break my leg and die or something.
Yep.
And that's that.
Yeah.
I know. I am very the teacher in me is very excited in a negative way. Excited in a negative way to actually witness history versus just read about it, because you can read about everything and you never know how it actually feels. And right now it feels kind of crazy. It feels kind of stressful. It feels like we're all on that edge of like going one way or the other. And I almost feel like you kind of know how they felt now, like before World War One, before World War Two. You kind of getting that sense of like everybody was in a panic because it could go one way or the other. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's cold. It's kind of Cold War version 2.0, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I look at after Nazi Germany fell, and that's why there's something now. Obviously, Putin wasn't in charge at that point, but there's still a part of me. No, it does feel like it, but
he's 800 years old.
Sure, looks like it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting killed soon. I'm sorry.
But
yeah.
My gut feeling is I just don't think it's going to go much further, even without military assistance from the West or whatever. I think he will stop at Ukraine, Moldova. I don't know about Moldova, but yeah, I kind of just get a feeling it's there. I don't know where, like, I know we've been talking about like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. I don't know where their stance is. I get the feeling that they're potentially, now this is without me looking, still quite buddy, I would guess, with Russia. And therefore he might be quite happy to obviously just leave them rather than, like Belarus, rather than like invade them and go, screw it, I'm taking you over. I think the fact that you've got a leader in charge who is pro-Russian, I think he's quite happy to keep it like that. And that's obviously the difference with Ukraine at present, is that Ukraine's president is not pro-Russian, he's pro-Western, and therefore that's kind of, I think, Putin's main problem. I don't know what Moldova's president, I assume, is like, but
I think they're like the Swiss. They're happy that they have their own country and minding their own business, but that's it. They're not really pro anything. They're not pro Russia or pro Western Europe. They're NATO. They're not pro NATO. They're minding their own dang business, which everybody should do.
And that's ultimately kind of the I don't, you know, at the same time, I think we in the West are very good at kind of helping to antagonize certain situations. And I just mean that I think sometimes we do things like put in like missile silos on like the border with another country, and it's like, well, of course, like if you do that, the other country's going to feel nervous about it. And it's like, you know, I always kind of look and I kind of go, one, I wish we would just denuclearize the entire world in terms of nuclear weapons.
Scrabble word?
Sorry?
Denuclearize? Scrabble word?
Yeah, Scrabble word, yeah. That would be a very good one. Obviously, there will probably be one person who manages to keep one bloody nuke. But yeah, it'd be good to get away from that. That is obviously kind of the main concern I've got, is that some crazy idiot somewhere is going to press a button one day and
maybe Cass, because it's pink.
Please do not make the button pink, because if the button's pink, Cassie is pressing it.
And then she'll definitely blow up her own country because it's pink.
Yeah. By accident. And then I'll be like, oh no.
Oh no, not that button.
That was the wrong button. I thought this was the Grubhub button. Pizza.
Presses it once, doesn't do anything. Keeps on pressing it. It just keeps on launching nuclear missiles.
Come on.
You were dead, and you were dead, and you were dead. Yeah.
The Oprah of pressing buttons.
Yeah.
That's me.
And you get a car, and you get a car.
And you get a nuclear missile.
Yeah. And you get years of devastation, and you get years of devastation.
Yeah.
No.
Yep, that sounds like me.
Lesson learned: never let Cassie hit a button. Ever.
Don't.
Yep.
No. I hit buttons on stream, and guess what happens? It breaks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you yesterday said that nothing can go wrong, and something was wrong. So never touch a button.
But you know, I think with that, if we covered everything, I think we have with Ukraine. As said, I think the main thing,
now,
for now, obviously, by the time this comes out, which will be March 4th.
Damn, you're fast today.
Yep. You know, it could have completely changed. Well, it will have changed. Will have changed. Don't know how much. Ukraine may already be overthrown by that point, or Ukraine may have fought back, or China may have invaded South Africa. I don't know.
Yeah, good to know. It's the 26th of February when we record this.
Yeah.
So note that things can change in between this and the next week, so we can possibly not be accurate.
Yeah.
In the weeks in advance.
But yeah, obviously, I think our main thing is we're thinking of the people in Ukraine and, you know, hoping them all the best, and
definitely,
you know, just stay strong and do what you can.
Can we end with a lighter note?
Yeah. What do you want to end with?
I want to end by thanking people for listening to our podcast.
Yep.
I was very excited because our ringleader Skeltus just announced that we have 11 followers and growing. So I really want to thank you all, because 11 people is a is much though. If I have 11 people in my house, it's freaking crowded. So if I can speak for all of us, we're really glad that we are doing this, and thank you for listening to us rambling, because that's what it is. Most of the time, by me at least, and by Cass, who wants to press pink buttons. But I want to ask you guys: do you have some ideas you want us to cover or something like that? Let us know in the comments. Go over to YouTube if you're listening on Spotify or
socials are in the below now. Thank you, Cassie, for sorting that out.
Yeah, for the link tree. Yeah. And then leave us a message, seeing what we can improve on. That's always helpful. What you want us to cover, stuff like that. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
we really do.
Yeah, as I said, all three of us are in different countries, so if there's something which really kind of you would like to get an idea of a comparison between the three of us, and just before this we were talking about gas/petrol prices, and the difference between all of us, quite considerable. So there is that might be a little bit too boring to cover that for a whole session, but I just mean that we've got an idea of doing a snack kind of test and fast food sort of taste testing sort of thing, comparison between each country and how much crap is in the US one, because most of the stuff is banned in the rest of the world. But I think we've said it previously, that's our unique selling point, is we're going to have I don't want to necessarily say very different views, but there are going to be different views, different kind of cultural upbringings and things like that. So if there's anything, you're right, Fox, that people want us to cover and talk about, then please let us know, because we're happy to cover it.
Definitely.
And it'll obviously be interesting for you guys, because that's what you're asking us to cover. And
tell a friend too that you like us. Tell your uncle, your neighbor, your nephew, your dog, your secretary, whatever. Do it. That's the way we are growing and expanding, so we can maybe do more of this, or different styles, or maybe meet up one day, because that will be the hardest part. So if you have any idea, let us know. Tell your uncle. Tell your uncle Barry to watch us, and watch us over and over again on repeat. I dare you to do it.
We only want uncles who are called Barry.
Only uncle or Harry.
I don't have an uncle Harry or Barry.
What's your uncle's name?
I have a million of them. They're just not Harry or Barry.
They can't.
They're every other name.
They can't listen to us then.
Name one.
Les.
Les.
Hmm.
Les. That's a character from GTA 5.
Oh, well, it's not him.
You got a nerd in me. What?
Disappointing now, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, obviously spread the word.
Definitely.
It helps. Seeing growth, and just having 11 people, is much appreciated. I think we all know from experience of doing Twitch and YouTube. It's really difficult when no one's listening to you to stay motivated to do it, but seeing just a few people listen to us is really beneficial, and also seeing some growth is also great. So it is really much appreciated, as Fox said, from all of us. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks, we will be back for some more ridiculousness, fun, laughter, probably some embarrassing stuff, mainly from Cassie, because she's the blonde.
Not from me.
Yeah.
I don't have any embarrassing stories. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Next time we'll be talking about Cassie's dogging stories.
Docking stories or dogging stories?
What's
That's
dogging?
a whole difference.
Dogging.
And
what is that?
We'll do that to you after we stop recording. Skel, go ahead.
Yeah. With that, thank you very much. We'll see you on the next
time.
episode.
Bye.
Bye.